How you been, man? I've been a little better today anyway. At least
Yeah.
a little bit. It's not good. I've been better
Yeah.
in the sense that I've been completely numb today. So
Yeah, dude. Me too. Yeah, I'll tell you, like, the weird rushes of memories haven't been hitting me as much today as they did yesterday. Like yesterday, I
mhm.
was having these, like, I mean, seemingly like just like random, like not like, oh, I'd make an association, like, oh, I see a salt shaker and remember the one time that he's put salt on his food. Like, no, it was just like I'd be hanging out and then like randomly I'm just like this thing
Pulled into
like
like a
pulled into
different
the
world,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
yeah, and then I'm sitting there and I'm just like thinking about it, and it's just like, dude, that was crazy. Yesterday was such a surreal, weird ass day. Just
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
absolutely, dude. Um, like I don't even know like how you want to like talk about everything, or like if we're just gonna basically go off the top of our heads whenever things come to us. But like it was so like reminiscent of like how I found out about Tommy, basically, and like where I had like this inkling for a moment
Yeah,
and then try to dismiss it before the inkling like before I confirmed it. And like, so it was in between worship services. I usually go grab a Starbucks in between because I usually have an hour.
yeah,
And then I went to go grab a Starbucks and I was just doing a little Pokemon going in between because there's stops along the way. And as I'm doing it, I see an alert pop up from Jimmy, and it just said, "Hey, bro, I know." And then like I'm like, I just swiped up on it, I didn't read it,
yeah,
and I was like, I'm almost positive I know what that message is gonna say, so I'm just gonna. And then like I
yeah.
drove a little further, and then yeah, dude, I pulled it open and it was exactly what I thought it was like. And yeah, I didn't really. I think you were the first person I called. You were busy, but you called me right back. But
So, oh my god.
and I
So,
think
yeah. Um, I don't even. Hello, welcome to
it.
episode 88 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie, Steven.
Usually we have a fun show. Steve and I have a good time while we talk about our various issues and the things that get in the way while we're making comic books. We're making a Steven, this week, devastating news. Like sincerely, one of the worst things that's happened, at least to me, in 10 years, at least. Just like fucking, just devastating. So Steven, you called me. It was Mother's Day. I was getting ready to leave. My parents, we were getting ready to go on this, like, not even like small fishing trip, just the three of us, my parents and I. We're gonna go out together.
Oh, peaceful.
A little, yeah, and I was like, oh, I gotta go pee before I go, and I, took out my phone. I was like, and I saw I had a missed call from you, and I was like, oh, okay, so I peed, and I immediately called you back, and like as I was calling you back, I was like panicking, and only because, like, I swear, Steven, I should never answer my phone. Like, I feel like the phone
Mm-hmm.
only brings pain for me these, like it's just like as I get older, but maybe that's because, maybe what that means is I need to use my phone more often and like actually like not
Yeah,
have
and
it be
make more
that.
memories with.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like,
because I mean, even me as your best friend, like 99% of
yeah,
how I contact you is through direct message or
yeah.
text, or
So
it's just more convenient and simpler that way.
dude, so I'm in the bathroom. I call you, and like, dude, like, so you say the thing to me that, like, I've been dreading and expecting for a really long time, and it was like, so you told me that our friend Mike passed away. Um, and like when I don't know, like, dude, I don't know how you handle things, but like every single time someone's told me that someone has passed away, I have like this weird thing that happens where it's like simultaneous disbelief and like in terror, but I don't. It's just like all of these weird things happening all at once, and I don't know how you communicate all of it at once. It's just like it's so much to, I don't even know what to say, and it's like the words just
This
utterly
is
fail.
this is a bad example, but like for me, almost like a variation of like when I open a gift I'm genuinely excited for. and
Yeah.
I know this sounds like a bad example, but I promise you it
No,
is
I
like a
know
good
what you.
example.
Yeah.
And like it's like I can't convey what I'm feeling in that moment because it's like an
Yeah.
overload of the senses.
Yeah.
And like that's definitely what happens to me. It's like gridlock. It's like
Yes.
the brain like
So
senses the impending danger and then just like locks up is what
yeah.
happens to me.
So that's kind of what happens to me. It's like I prefer to have time to like process before I like try to talk about it or like get anyone's like like thoughts or like bond with anyone or like mourn in any meaningful way with anyone. Like I don't have that in like for me. I'm just like I need to process all of this stuff internally and think about it and kind of live with this for a second so it feels real, because that news is just, I mean, there's nothing that can shake you from, I mean, not nothing, but like there's very little that can shake you from your day-to-day like consciousness level, like death, like someone tells you that you've lost someone forever and suddenly the world is the worst video game and you feel like you've just lost, like
Yeah.
every like you just like you shift out and just disassociate and kind of just, but you're not really disassociating because like you feel it all, but it's so overwhelming that it's like nothing is happening and it's just like, what do you do?
It's
And so it's like there is nothing to do. There is no action that makes sense in that moment, except for whatever it is that makes you get through it. And like for me, I was like, my parents were literally packing up the car to go, and I was like, it's Mother's Day, and they're packing up the car. What do I do? Do I go out there and do I just be like, I can't, Mom, like my friend died, like do I do that? And I was like, so I went through and I was like, okay, well, what would that, so in my head I was like, well, what does that look like? What happens? I say that now my parents are sad, I'm sad, everyone's sad, Mother's Day is gone, like what do we do? um and there's nothing we can do but sit with this and this weird, but I was just like, I don't know. So and I wasn't processing it, and I was just like, so I was just thinking, and I just like just got in the car while I'm thinking about it. I'm just like processing everything. I'm just kind of like, I felt like I was kind of on autopilot, like I'm sure my parents recognized it to some degree, but it was a lot, man. It was crazy.
it
And then
was and like the only reason why I my first thought because like Jimmy like contacted me and Cody. That's who Jimmy contacted from people that would be associating with Mike or
yeah.
no. And he basically said, feel free to let anyone know that you need to let know. And so like I immediately felt like that, like, well, like I don't want some of the closest people like to find out in a different
Yeah.
way or a different means. So like I had like this weird thing I was juggling where I wasn't sure like whose days like I wanted to ruin basically. Like I
Oh my
didn't,
gosh, dude, that's a lot
but
of
like
pressure.
I knew I
Yeah, of course, I knew you.
and
Yeah,
but I mean Mike, you especially like Mike has had so many relationships with so many people. He's loved by so many people. I can see
yeah,
it in like all of like the outpouring in my DMs and
yeah,
everything. And but like we were so like we probably maintained the longest friendship with him and like closeness. I mean, even post pandemic, like
yeah.
it
Well,
was you, me, and Mike for a
so
while there. So
yeah, absolutely, dude. And like, and it's weird, it's crazy because like for those of you who don't know, most of the people listening don't know like what our relationship is. We met in high school. Like Mike's the reason that I know Steven. Like
mhm.
it's crazy. We've been friends forever. Um Yeah, dude, he was essentially my Tommy. Like like what Tommy was to you,
Mhm.
that was what Mike was to me before you and I like became like really close friends and bonded. And then we all had our group, and you know how dynamics work, and we go back and forth with like the various like configurations of friend groups and stuff. But like we were all best friends. Like if you read our Play It Again book, like he's in there with Tommy. It's just like all of our
Mhm.
friends are there. So it's just crazy, dude. Like I've like Tommy aside, like I've never felt this. Like I've never felt like I lost someone who was so close to me. Like and like because like family is one thing. Like I lost all of my grandparents, but you have like your familial relationships with your grandparents, and like, or at least I did. Where it's like I love them and I will always hold them like in my heart. And I think about them often still, and like but like it wasn't like I spent every day with them as a growing adult, like learning things, experiencing these things, like failing together and like seeing, it's just like Mike was one of those people who was just, he was a staple. He, you know, like he was, he, dude, he was our best friend, you know, and it's just, so it's crazy, dude. I mean, first of all, I love you. I'm sorry
I love you
that,
too, man.
like, I know Jimmy did the right thing, but it's also like that was hard, you know. It must have been hard for you to try to figure out like who to tell and what, like how to do it and how to.
It was like just like like determining like who needs the call and then who should I just message, because like a lot of people, I'm like, I don't want to say like I'm not close with them, because like I have these moments with these people and like these lovely memories with these people, and like we were extremely close in so many points in our lives. And
Yeah.
but like it was very like I didn't like I I was considering like just going back and playing the second set, but like I didn't realize like how much was gonna come of that day. Basically, I
Yeah.
don't know why I'm crazy, I
No.
think, but yeah, dude, like um I wish like I wish I wasn't. It's not pessimistic, just realistic at times. Like I wish, like just like seeing the first two words, and like I do talk to Jimmy, so it's not like it would have been that crazy for Jimmy to message me. Like
Right.
I follow like a lot of his stuff, and but yeah, it just knowing, and like it was like literally like just this. It was just very reminiscent of Tommy, and it was Mike that actually told me about Tommy. So
Oh my god.
and it's almost like it'll literally be 10 years,
Yeah.
um june June 30th was it. And so I mean
And
it's
that's
literally
so
almost a 10
close.
year.
It's almost a 10-year anniversary. That's insane. So I I don't know, man. You know, it's one of those things where obviously we know that everyone dies. You know, everyone's going to, like, it's
Mhm.
going to happen to you and I. And we know that, you know, but and like we make jokes about like the, you know, like running from that existential dread and such, but like there, as much as I never imagined living beyond 25 when I was when I was younger, I never even thought
Mhm.
about it, you know. I never considered that any of my friends would ever die, you know. Like like it was never a thing where I'm like, oh man, one of us is probably gonna, like, it just, like, no man.
I genuinely tether like Tommy's death to like it's his fault, but like I genuinely tether that to like my first bout and blow with like panic disorder and anxiety, because
Yeah.
it literally felt like a god died, like not in sense of Tommy, but just
Yeah.
like that perspective of
Of
your
course.
friends aren't going to die. Like that's like this is impervious thing, you know,
Yeah.
like that's going to be a constant. Like you may fall, like
Yeah.
you may not see each other every day because you're getting busier, but like
Yeah.
you'll always have time, right? You'll always be able to like catch up. And like
No,
yeah,
it's
that was like my first reminder. That was the first punch to let me know, hey,
it was freaking, it's like it's time throwing that spear at Xerxes, and just like you get that little bit of
mhm,
blood from the person who seemed impenetrable.
mhm,
Tommy was Steven's best friend, before, you know, I ever met them. They knew each other, forever. Tommy was one of the most welcoming, amazing people I've ever met, and I loved him.
mhm.
Um, but these are just such devastating losses, dude. Um, I feel like, I don't know. I have so much like going on in my head and inside. I can tell you, like, I do have, and like, I don't know. I'm sure it's gonna come across weird. Um, I feel relieved knowing that I don't have anyone else in my life right now that I feel is in that precarious a situation. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like everyone is. We never know what's going to happen. Of course, there accidents happen. You know, like hopefully, you know, none of us have to deal with any of that ever. But as far as like a sort of like self-sustained spiral that, like, you know, it's like I don't, like, I have you and I have Tina and I have obviously Atlas and my family, but like I'm currently not deeply involved with anyone who like I'm worried about anymore. And like at least I have that. Whereas like when we lost Tommy, I remember like being really concerned and just being like, I'm scared of this. I'm scared of this happening again. I don't want this to ever happen again, you know? Um, so I don't know, dude. It's just, it's
And
crazy.
the path was already there for
Yeah,
Mike in that moment too. And like that fear, like I said, like I've like that fear has been obvious. Like we've been holding our breath for like 10 years, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like
So,
we've been
oh, so okay, but there, I, I don't know. I don't know to what extent, like how much we should talk about that stuff, or like like it sucks because like I feel both things where I'm like I want to do whatever we can to let people know that they can talk to their friends and get help or do whatever they can, or please listen to your freaking friends when they're asking you and telling you like and like willing to do things for like But there's nothing we can say, like they're like to an extent. Anyone who knows Steven and I know that we love Mike. Like I love Mike. I can't tell you what I've been going through this last day. Like if I wasn't, I did like I took off work today. I'm so glad like Atlas was gone for Mother's Day. Thankfully, it's like the only time I've ever been like I'm glad that he is, not in the house today.
mhm.
I've just been so freaking shaken by this, and like it just sucks because I don't know how to talk about it. Because I have like you go through the whole, what is it, the Kubler-Ross or what, like or you go through it, not, like the stages of death. Like you go through like the
Mhm.
but like I have my denial like immediately where I'm like, wait, what? No. And then it's like, but I get to the anger place, where it's like, and I start feeling like guilt, where I'm like, what more could I have
Mhm.
done? I get to like the anger place where I'm just like, who did this to him? And it's like, or like, why did he do this to himself? I hate this. And it's just like I go through all those phases like really quickly, but also in like rapid succession. I kind of circle back around where I'm like, wait a second, maybe. And I'm just like, how can I feel this again? I'm just like, it's
How do I tap it? Like putting the song on and trying to get the feeling from the song at the right part, and then you miss it because something distracted you while you were driving, and then
oh,
having to
oh
find it
man.
again.
So I mean, not to mention like,
For
go ahead.
like for me, like, and I think this is kind of like stems from a lot of like how I deal with like at least traumatic events or like events that are designed to completely cause you to be in upheaval. Like what gets hard for me, and it's like the only way that I can like actually like because like I'll fight my own tears in silence. It doesn't make any sense. There'll be no one there, and I will make my cheeks hurt fighting those tears for
Yeah.
no reason. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
But like I do know when I'm around other people, like, and that's what makes it hard, is like Tina lost it. Like
Yeah.
Tina broke down into like a bellowing moan. I mean, and like it's like this natural response for me every time. And I don't know if it's the older sibling thing or what it is, but like I immediately wall up and then like try to tend to anyone that is feeling something. Like I don't know, it's like something, it's really delicate and hard for me to
Yeah.
like release and experience like my own feelings on something like that.
Well, when
It's so
you're,
hard.
because like I feel that too. But what happened to me is like, I don't know if it's because I don't want to like share my grief with someone else, because like like
Mhm.
often it feels like they say like a problem shared is a problem halved, but it often feels like a problem shared is a problem doubled, where it's like you drop your you become a burden to someone else and you drop your grief on them, and then now they have to handle it one way or another, whatever that may be, be it like help or just just be there and communicate. But no matter what, there's going to be an effect, and I feel like I have that issue too, where I'm just like, I don't want to burden anyone with my grief,
Mhm.
especially if I haven't actually, like, if I'm like, I'm experiencing it internally and it's just like this weird tornado of, expressions, there's like all this like nonsense going on. And like externally, I don't know which one to give a voice yet. And they all kind of want the mic. And sometimes they'll try to escape through my face, and I don't want to let them because I don't know which one has the mic. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
I'm not ready for you to speak for me yet. I'm still like working on this. Um, so like yesterday, I was like, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to like drop this on anyone. I want like my mom to at least have a little bit of a Mother's Day. And so I went fishing with them, and like we went crabbing, and I was just like awkwardly, like you know how you do like anytime there's like live water, I'm like looking out at the sea and I'm looking at the sky and I'm imagining like freaking like Star Wars, like imagining like a giant mic in
Mhm.
the sky. Like I'm picturing like, what is this? Like what is this freaking life? How
Mhm.
bizarre is all of this? Um, but yeah, dude, I just like I was holding it in, and then like on the way home, I was just like, I've had enough. Like I was like, I've had enough of holding it in. I'm gonna say this to them so they know what I'm going through right now. Just like we're on our way home, and then they know that I can like go do my thing, because I don't want to sit there. I don't want to live in this with anyone. Like I just, I'm someone
Mhm.
who like as much as I will bottle it up, like I also, when I'm first at least at first, when I'm like experiencing a thing like that, I want to just kind of tread that water by myself and just kind of go through it and figure out what it means.
Absolutely.
And I don't, you know, like, and it's like everyone's well intended, not everyone in the world, but like generally in these situations, people are so well intended. They want to help you out. They want to make sure you're communicating, that you're getting it out, and you're support. You know, like, you know that you're not alone, and you know that you like. But the problem is, we are all so like complicated and like in such subtle ways that like we just, even if we're super similar, we don't grieve the same way. Not necessarily, not exactly, at least, you know. So it's like, and even if like our grief harmonizes in some way, we're not like doing it exactly the same way. And because of that, it's really hard to give anyone any sort of advice or anything like that, you know, that other than do what you need to
Mhm.
do. And I'm sorry. And I hope you know, that's why we say like my condolences, like, you know, I hope you feel better. And it's like, thank you. You know, like, because like you express your intention, because it's, dude, it's because it's crazy. Like, no matter what anyone says in those moments, I'm like, I've experienced loss before. I've done the dance of like, you know,
What we're
accepting,
doing.
like coming
Yeah.
to terms with death. I know what I'm doing. Like, there's nothing in me that's like bottled up permanently, that like is I've repressed for any reason, due to death. Um, it's just, it's a process. It's a freaking process. And like, when you and like for me, what I want to hear, I think, if anything, like most of the time I want to hear nothing from most people, like 99% of the people, unless I specifically say, hey, what do you think about this situation? I just don't want to hear, I don't, not in these situations, I don't want to hear it. But like, what I do want, I guess, is to hear like, yeah, that happens sometimes, like that, I get it, you know, or like, you know, like, and if you
Mhm.
don't, if you're not like someone who identifies with it, if your grief or like way of mourning doesn't harmonize with mine, that's fine. But you don't necessarily have to be like, hey, well, this is my song. I don't necessarily want to hear your song when I'm just explaining how mine feels to me in the moment, you know. And I guess it's that thing,
Mhm.
you know, where people say like, do you just want me to listen, or do you want me to help you solve this? I'm like, I never want you to help me solve this when it comes to grief, because there is no solving it when it comes to grief. It's literally coming to terms with a finite situation that we hoped
You're
we.
basic. You're having like a sit down with you,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you are like agreeing or disagreeing with yourself and deciding in your own mind how you're going to go about this, and like external input at times, and not that anyone has. I'm not,
yeah.
everyone has been amazingly wonderful and supportive and great,
Mhm.
but like external input feels like intrusive and
Yeah,
painful in its own way, you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
even though
it's,
it's so well intended and you know they don't mean to, you know, like.
yeah, dude. And I feel so, I feel like I hate this situation, because like, obviously, like, you see, like, you and I, like, I live on Twitter generally, as far as the internet's concerned, you know, like, I'm always on Twitter. That's where like I am genuinely literally friends with people on Twitter. I have actual friendships that I'm like excited to experience every day. And like, you know, I'm just like, oh, I interview, like, I like, and it's crazy, because there's a part of me that wants to share the things I'm going with, because I feel like these people are my friends, and I'm just like, hey, I'm just, so you know, I'm going through this thing. But like, it is social media, so like, there is the, you know, the obvious opportunity for anyone to respond and say anything back. So I'm like, crap, I have to like, I don't know how to do this. I've never like, I don't, I'm not used to like navigating this. I haven't really ever navigated like a loss through social media like this. Like,
Good point, because like 20, I mean, Tommy's, I mean, that was basically Facebook, and
yeah,
that's just a different level of social
yeah,
media. Yeah,
and
it's
like,
just different.
yeah, dude, and like when Tommy passed, I wrote like a small thing on Facebook, and those were all my family and friends, and there were no outside voices, because it's just people, your family and friends for the most part at Facebook. At least that's what it was for me at the time. That's still for the most part what Facebook is to me. I don't really use Facebook often, um, but Twitter is like, it's open to anyone who wants to follow me, and I'm happy with that most of the time. But then when I forget that in these moments, like these vulnerable moments of like, I'm feeling this thing and I just want to have to say it to someone, you know, and just like kind of share the like how surreal this moment is, you know, and then like I forget that like anyone can respond, or that like everyone has like it's so like all of our perspectives are so subjective that we're playing their, you know, like respective songs of our freaking human bodies as we walk around this weird freaking planet, and it's just like I'm sorry, we don't always harmonize when I'm sad, and I'm sorry. And I just like I don't know, dude. Like so I was having a freaking day yesterday. I was having a freaking day. But yeah, it was weird. It's been rough. I feel a lot better today. I realized like there are. I'm trying to, and it's funny because like when I'm by myself, I talk like I try to like I talk aloud a lot. I talk like in general to the universe. I talk to Mike. I just talk. You know. To you know like the big everything, the God. You know, like what I talk. Um, and it's just like that helps me get through things, and I work through it that way. But when I'm talking to other people, even you, no matter how much I love you, like there's like this weird like fear of like a response of whatever it may be. And, you know, I try to not like so it's like you I feel so like weirdly vulnerable, be like sharing how I hurt. You know what I mean? And like it's and you know sometimes, dude, and like I know you because we've been friends for a really long time, so I know you identify with this a little bit. But like also sharing when I'm not physically showing signs of that hurt, and like I know it exists internally. I know what's happening, and like I can tell you, I've been to numerous funerals in which I shed zero tears, and I probably look like a complete stoic statue person, like who like if you didn't know me and know my relationship with those particular people, if you didn't know how much I love my grandpa and know how much I've cried since, like when I think about him, in those moments you might think that I just didn't care about him, or that I'm a monster of some sort, that I'm, you know, but in reality it's just not how I grieve, you know. Like I was like I can remember very specifically like I have this when I go to the funeral and I look at my grandpa, and I have this huge spectrum of thoughts that go through my brain, and like the very first like beginnings of them are like, well, grandpa knows the big ineffable questions that I don't know. You know, like there is no greater elderly wisdom than the fact that now grandpa lives among the stars. You know, like I don't know the thing he knows, and like I don't know what to say. You know, like you know, so it's just like it's the not knowing thing that's just like it can drive you crazy or give you peace, or but somewhere in between. You know, but stoically I kind of like sat there with all of those thoughts and thinking like where he might be, what it might be, if anything might exist, like what are the potentialities of, you know, like okay, well, is my grandpa gonna reform once like the sun swallows all the planets and redistributes the energy throughout the universe, and it's gonna be reformulated in some other star which is gonna get redistributed, and, you know, like I'm going through all this in my head, but like externally I'm just like staring at a casket with someone I love inside of it, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, I don't know. How do you experience that stuff?
I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. Like, and my sisters were young, so it's not even their fault. But like, I remember when my when my grandma passed away. She passed away in surgery, and then I remember like my sisters like just telling me like, "You're not even crying. You're not even upset. Like, why are
Yeah.
you?" Like blah 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 blah. And I remember like how much that sucked. Like I remember actually even getting upset because I was being accused of not having feelings, you know. And but like I don't like I've always been that way where like it's like I lock up and I try to like it's like I'm like preparing, like it's like I'm like like moving all the structures that need to happen to make like the future happen now, because now life is different, this person is no longer in it, like
Yeah.
it's like pulling the strings of the memories that could have came or would be and are no longer. And like
Well,
every funeral it's very similar to I don't feel in that moment. It's always been after the fact. It's always been on my own time in a random spot. It's when I'm driving to
yeah.
Tampa or something, like it'll hit me. And like even my grandpa that passed away, the
Yeah.
one that basically like side raised me, like Brandon and I literally broke out in laughing hysterics at his wake.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like
Of
and we
course.
probably seemed absolutely insane, but like we were obviously both trying to avoid, or like, I don't know, like we were obviously in some form of mental shock or disassociation where we, like I can completely relate to that, like that locked feeling, and like just almost like wanting to be able to experience it the way that other people get to
Mhm.
experience it in the moment, like all we almost like wishing like that those feelings could just come out of you, and you don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to, I
Well,
don't know,
I don't know. It's like
kind
a
of rambling.
no, no, dude. I mean, that's exactly what it is, though. But it feels like it's almost like an emotional fight or flight situation, you know, and like we kind of stand our ground by reinforcing things, and by we
Mm-hmm.
kind of we just do what we can to reinforce the integrity of our emotional state. Until we feel the comfort of that time passing, like once it's
Mm-hmm.
happened, and like the big wave passes and you see it take everyone else, you feel like you can take a breath, and you feel like you can be like, okay, now is the time. Now that it's past, I can write the story of that moment now that I've seen it. But otherwise, like we sit and we observe and we collect information. We do with it what we can. Um, but yeah, I know we've always identified, like we've always connected over that, and it's hard. It's hard, man. I, this
I
is
almost feel like there's it's almost like a reality denial for me. I think like it's like some sort of like consciously I'm actively accepting the reality, but subconsciously it's like my brain's like, no, it's like,
Mhm.
like almost relates it to video games, or like something like that's nothing's permanent, everything,
Right.
just, and I think there's this constant battle with my subconscious, with my very aware conscious,
Yeah.
it's like I I don't know it, but then what happens is eventually they get in, they figure out each other and they start speaking the same language, and then the subconscious is kind of becoming like when like those impulses come to call him
Right.
or to see him, or hey, let's open mic night, we should. And then like when your subconscious mind predicts what you should do, and then you consciously try to say, oh, that's it, and then those are like when I finally start snapping into the reality that's been around me, basically. And like I know, like yesterday, for example, for me, like I was on the patio for most of the day, and then when I came in, I went right into my man cave. I just started playing acoustic, and I was
Yes.
singing those like songs that we wrote
Oh,
together,
oh.
and that I was able to feel in, because it's like I was putting myself into that moment, and like
I
upset, like
I
not
wonder that
intentionally,
too.
but basically upsetting myself, dude. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
But well, I don't. It's letting yourself be in that place because it was the appropriate and comfortable place for those expressions, I
mm-hmm,
think. And I think like we both. I don't like. I don't know what that is, like we both kind of have to fortify like a place, or like it has to be an appropriate place for us to have those feelings, and
mm-hmm,
it's I don't know. I'm sure it's like a whole series of things, but I went through the same thing. I went through my old emails and I found all of the songs that we, like all of the demo songs that we made together, and I was just listening to them. I recorded a cover of "The Best of Me," and I was like Mike and I played the talent show in high school and played the song "The Best of
mm-hmm.
Me." So I had my guitar and I was playing that and I was like singing it, and and it's funny, man, because like I know everyone has like a different like mental experience. Like I learned that some people like have anaphasia. They can't see pictures in their head. I've learned that some people can't hear, like they don't have an internal monologue the way like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can't hear sounds at all apparently in their head. For me, I very clearly hear sounds in my head. Like I can very clearly mimic things in my head, and have memories that are so specific, and I can hear Mike's voice so ridiculously crisp. Like when I play music, I know exactly what Mike sounds like when he sings every song that I play. And like we played together for years. So it's just like all of his little like funny mannerisms, and like when he would do things really
Mm,
well, all of that's in my head. Like his little Pauly Shore mannerisms are in my head.
yeah.
Like all of his thinking about Mike's like his physicality is in my head, and like and like all the things Mike would do. It's all in there, and I'm just like, so I sat in my room and I'm playing music, and I was just like, all of that was coming back, and I was just like, it was getting me bad,
Losing
you
it.
know.
Yeah.
It was getting me bad, and then like I was going through the motions of feeling like, am I doing this to myself, or is this what I should be doing? You know, I was like, what is the actual, what's the physical thing you're supposed to do when you mourn? You know, so I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, there is no, there's no like 7-step program to getting over. You don't want to, like, it's like, because what is the intention? The intention isn't to forget about someone. It's not to never be sad that the person's gone. What is it? You know, so basically it's just like, we're trying our best to get through it however we can, while also not dismissing it, which is, I mean, I you know, it's like the greatest meditation there is in the world, is to try to feel a thing while not you know, it's like we can't let it completely own us, but we also can't deny it, and it's, you know, but it felt really, it was a crazy night, dude.
Yeah.
I went through it all. I listened, so like so I'm sitting there, dude, and I'm playing these songs, like, you know, and like some of the songs, I'm like, you know, listening to the lyrics, and like you did an acoustic version of one of the songs that we did together, and like kind of mixed up our intro song. For those of you who don't know, our intro song is a song that I'll play it at the end of this, but it's, the whole song is sung with Mike and Steven and I. Mike's the first vocals. He's the first vocalist in that.
Him and Anthony are the alternating vocals in majority of the song, because the song goes back and forth, kind of like a Taking Back Sunday style. And Mike is every other line, basically.
Mike is every other line, and like, so I was listening to all of our songs, and so you sent me that thing, and you know, it was like, that was amazing. I really love that. And then, dude, it just hit me that I have underneath my bed an old camcorder that Mike gave me years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is on that? And I went to go play it, dude. Okay, so I have 4 tapes, so I have 4 of those tapes. They're called hi-8 tapes, and unfortunately they can only be played in the camcorder. And you can, I do have a converter system that I can use, that I used to use when we were kids with that camera. However, the battery for it is completely broken. It's just completely destroyed. So I can't do anything with it. I can't see what's on the freaking camera. So what I've done now is I've ordered a new battery, I ordered a new charger, and I'm desperate to see what's on these 4 freaking tapes of our friend Mike, and probably also our friend Tommy, which I'm so excited to see these. So I'm like, I've been looking around, I'm trying to get a camera. If anyone out there has a hi-8 playable camera, like an old camcorder that can play a hi-8 video, send it to me. I will freaking pay you. I'm probably gonna end up going on eBay and just buying one. It's like $70 or something, and it's totally worth it. I have to do it. But anyway, so I have those. I also found 2 other tapes. So I was looking for a battery, dude. So I'm really excited about this, actually. I didn't tell you about this, but I was looking for a battery. So I went in my old camera bag, and I was like, what's in here? I was like, maybe I have an old battery in here. So I'm looking, I found like my old battery. It doesn't fit this camera. But what I did find is 2 extra tapes that are like the VHS adaptable tapes, which are the exact kind that I used when we recorded Officer Beef.
So that might be...
They might be Officer Beef. So Steven and
which Mike was like an agent in some of those too.
Yeah, so Steven, Mike, Tommy, and I, and like, you know, a few others, we recorded like this old like cops parody called Officer Beef, and I would just film Steven, and I'd do like the cop siren, police siren sound, and like Steven would like narrate as this police officer on his beat, you know. And it was amazing. And we used to make short films and do all these silly things, and I have 2 of those tapes, dude. And so I ordered one of the adapters. I have to find a VCR, but like that should be easy enough at like a thrift store, or like
you can probably find one for cheap, I would hope. Yeah.
I'll find. If not, dude, you know what? Like, I'll be perfectly honest. Like, it's been kind of distracting me in a good way to be like focused on these tapes and be like, I need to like extract the information from these
For
tapes,
sure.
and just kind of like, it gives me a mission that makes me, and like I'm the kind of person that like it's a mini quest where it's like I have this like big emotional quest going on, or it's like I'll eventually get to the other side of it. But
This is a
meanwhile,
side quest that's very relevant to the main quest, so I don't feel super guilty
yes.
pursuing it. Like, I get it.
Because dude, like, I didn't, I was, Sunday was going to be my day to finish that page. I was like, this is my day. And like, of course I didn't do jack. I didn't do anything yesterday, and I was never going to. Like, that was not going to happen with
No.
And
I literally and I slept, dude. I don't do that. Like, I like slept for 2 hours and then went to bed like an hour after I slept for 2 hours. Like, I like was just not wanting to experience anything. I think I was just shut down. It was just death. But like, in terms of that song though, like, it's just, and I'm sure you realize it too, like, it was just like one of those moments where I was just like sitting on the patio, and like it just like dawned on me like how like relevant like those, it's so crazy, like those lyrics have nothing to do with this moment but have everything to do with this moment. It's like the two songs he's saying, and like these lyrics are just with just the slightest alterations like completely fit the whole scenario. And it's just, it was crazy, dude. Like, it was just crazy.
I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, I was telling Tina, I was like, I don't know what to do with my body. I was telling you, I was like, I don't know what to do with my body physically. But I'm just like I don't want to respond to things. I don't want to go on social media, because when I go on social media, everyone's just having the best day of their life or the worst day of their life, and no matter what the case is, I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? So like I want to be distracted, but at the same time, like, I'm not finding things as funny as I normally would. I'm not interested in things the way I normally would be. And I also don't necessarily want to hear about anyone else's grief right now, because I'm literally burdened with this. You know, I'm just like, I'm weighed down already. I feel like I'm kind of just like in quicksand, and I'm hanging out, and this is what I'm freaking getting. Like, I'm just like, this is my life right now. And then if I don't know how to distract. I don't know how to distract myself in a way that makes me feel like it's productive, but not productive as far as like comics and stuff. I just mean like as far as like it's gonna be helpful for me as a person, you know? And like, I know, however we get through it is just the right way to get through it. That's, as long as we're not destructive, you know? Like, there are wrong ways. There are wrong ways to grieve.
Absolutely.
But like, it's just nuts, man. I didn't go to work today. I guess I'm gonna go to work tomorrow, but like, I have that like subjective weight of like, like every day we meet people. Like, anytime you meet people, they are a full-fledged human person with their own ins and outs, ups and downs. Like they are a full human in and of themselves. Like, they're not an NPC. They are not, like, other people are not side characters in your story, although they feel like that sometimes. They are not. They're full ass people, you know? But in moments like this, nothing seems like more inconsequential than everyone else's bullshit. You know, like I can't stand at a cash register and hear someone complain to me that something is $1 more or $1, or whatever, or like, oh, I got this in the wrong place, or like whatever their complaint may be. It's going to pale in comparison to the thing that I'm feeling internally while staring at their stupid face. And I know that, and every day we feel that. Every day we feel, no matter what our situation is, we feel that our problems are more significant than other people's problems most of the time. Not consciously, but I mean, like, egocentrically. Like, we have to.
We're the heroes of our own story.
Yeah,
right?
we have to focus on our
protagonists.
Yeah, we're like, I have to be thinking like, oh man, it's gonna be hot in the car when I wait to pick up my son. I can't be like, oh no, she has to go to like a job interview. It's gonna be hard for her if I don't know her. You know what I mean? Like we have to weigh things appropriately, and like there is like a subjective concern with the the things that we're acknowledging at any given time. We we compartmentalize. But like, as far as this is concerned, I'm just like, none of your problems matter. You're in the craft store right now. Nothing like, why are you here in any capacity that could upset you? Like it's a craft store. Like it's
You
crazy.
should be coming here to like make your joys and your hobbies and
Yeah, yeah.
your
So
art. You should be excited.
yeah, dude.
At
So
least in my job, like I was like nervous like coming in because like not that nothing against Ricky, but like
yeah,
I didn't want to have that like that's like the like I don't want to have I'm sorry about your I'm sorry your friend died and like I don't want to like but he was like he was actually very light with it and like I was very appreciative and he didn't he mentioned it once just to let me know that he knew he did
that's
and
good.
then the rest of my day is beating the crap out of pavers with a hammer. So I feel like it's probably a good job to have in moments
Yeah,
like these because I don't have to talk to anyone. I just hit stuff with a hammer
that's an
basically. So like
interesting
so
form
I
of
mean
relief,
like
and it works
yeah.
sometimes. I mean, I wish
I
it didn't.
mean I mean
Wish it didn't, but I think that a lot of what we're kind of touching on, as far as like how we respond and have to find our own little like refuge or is like we find our fortress of solitude, and when we feel like there's any sort of danger of someone like penetrating that just like whatever that bubble is in those moments, I think it's we both do the same thing where we kind of we we extend through anxiety and think like what's the worst possible like all every possible scenario that could happen, what could happen here, and we to think about the spectrum of negativity and hope for the best. We hope for the lighter side of that spectrum, but like we kind of prepare ourselves for like the darker side of that spectrum. And I think that in these situations, most of what people can say can only make it worse, only because I mean, okay, they're going to remind us that it happened. They're going to like there's nothing anyone can say that's going to make it not have happened. So all you can do is let us know that we're not alone, which is nice. And like I always appreciate that. Like there's nothing. I cried like I was getting like DMs and I was getting messages on Twitter and messages like on Facebook. Even like
so
yeah, so many people do. Like even Erica message like she not like
really
she added me on Facebook and she commented on my post and was like, I thought of you when I heard, and I was like, these people come from so far away, like just like, and they don't have to, you don't have to say anything, but they offer their condolences and they know that they try to say we're here. And I love that. I'm afraid of everything else. Like if it's
yeah.
I think it's easier on social media because people can say like, I'm so sorry for your loss, or like you have my condolences, or I'll pray for you, or whatever it may be. But in person, as soon as someone opens their mouth, my stomach kind of sinks and I become this like weird stone where I'm like, what's gonna happen next? And it's kind of like it's like any situation where you're uncertain, where it's just like, is he about to tell a racist joke and I have to respond in some awkward way? But in this situation, it's like he's gonna say a thing or she's gonna say a thing, and it's gonna make me sad, or I have to respond in a certain way. Are they like judging me if I don't respond a certain way, or like how am I supposed to take this? And it's I just don't want any of it. I just want to tread that water for a little bit until I like can take my floaties off, and then I will swim to shore by myself. Occasionally yelling to you and being like, hey man, are you swimming okay? And like and we touch base, and that's because I've known you forever, and that's what I personally need. I have a very small group of friends because I don't want anyone else to die in my life. I'm gonna just seclude myself on a little island, Steven. I'm done. No,
I think of Claudio a lot. Claudio from Coheed has actually not had. He's even said like his biggest fear is like death in the family, because like he's literally like one of the like lucky people that has just had no one close to him pass away. Even like, I mean, he's older than us, and like his grandparents and stuff are still around. I think his grandfather did actually pass away recently though, but he's someone that's like lived a life of, and like that life's just going to hit him back to back to back now, because I mean it's only a matter of time. Like
not every episode, but occasionally I'll record a thing before we record for like the Patreon subscribers. And I utterly failed this time, dude. Because like I can talk to you and I feel like I can kind of mitigate things and manage my emotions and talk to you in a way that like, because I don't know. I guess like we know each other so well, so I feel comfortable in this talk. But for some reason, when I'm like, I was just talking to the camera, it's like talking to myself or talking anyway. I'm just like, and like the whole bunch comes out, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm trying to express right now, but I'm sad. And it's just like you can see it in my eyes. You can see it within like 2 words in my eyes. That's just welling up, and I did like. And I think part of it is because like when we do this and we do the podcast, I'm talking about the thing rather than necessarily feeling the thing in the moment, you know?
Mhm.
And I kind of like that I have that like distance sometimes. Not that it always holds, you know, but like it's nice.
I think the dice roll we both took going into filming tonight was that if one of us cried, it was
Oh,
going to be a big mess.
yeah.
That's the thing. I
Yeah,
think we're doing
Steven.
really good at guiding each other because there's
Yeah.
been a couple moments where I've teared and there's been a couple with you, but we've been guiding each other in
Uh-huh.
our energy. But yeah, I knew this was going to go one of two ways. I knew either we were both going to be okay or we both were going to be like blubbering messes, and it was all reliant on if we both decided to cry at the same time,
So,
basically. So
Steven, I have a surprise for you. This is the moment where we become blubbering messes. No,
uh,
dude,
I know we're gonna have times where we will be.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna.
Well, Steve, like we haven't been in the same room yet, since
Yeah.
this has happened, and like I was thinking about coming over yesterday, but I was like, it's so much. I was like, I don't want to drive. I don't want to do it. You know, I was just like in my own like
Mhm.
little funk where I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Um, so I kind of threw myself into that camera situation. I was watching YouTube tutorials on how to fix cameras
Mhm.
and like,
It's so funny how we both like. That's basically what I did. Like I just my camera situation, but just like poured myself into things that I created with Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just like where I was able to
yeah.
kind of like separate my mind and step away from everything else. And uh, it's going to be a process, and it's just something that we're going to have to get through, and it's going to have to be something that we manage while we manage everything else we manage in our lives, because we're adults, and that's what we do. That's what.
Yeah. You know, like one thing that I didn't foresee, stupidly, was like the realization that the internet pretends it's forever but isn't. Like that, like the fact when that occurred to me yesterday harder than it's ever occurred to me. Like I've been thrust into this world in which like Facebook feels like forever now. Like I forget, dude. I forget that like we started like before Facebook, there was like LiveJournal, and then there's MySpace, and then Facebook. But Facebook kind of like put its foot down and was like, "I'm gonna be in your life forever," and it felt that way. And I think because of that, I kind of started taking the internet for granted. Um, and it never occurred to me to like double down and go back and like find those old things and save them, because like for instance, I went on MySpace to go find songs that Mike and I made, or in the Trifecta song. I went back to go look
Mhm.
for those, and the pages still exist on MySpace, but the freaking songs aren't there anymore. Like that, they had some issue with like transferring the data or whatever, and deleted all like over 50 million songs or something like that.
That's
Um,
so crazy.
yeah. And so I learned that, and I was like, great. So I was like, okay, where else did we have songs? So I went on this website called Pure Volume, and I was like, oh, we had like two separate bands on Pure Volume. It was like a SoundCloud before SoundCloud. I was like, where you go on there, you have a band, you have a
Was
band
Cut
page.
Like Knives on Pure Sound? Cut Like
No,
Knives.
no, Cut Like Knives. I looked for that too. I forget what that was on. Maybe that's still probably not. It's probably not still up. Cut Like Knives. It was under a band name, Give Us This Day. So, but so it wasn't there for me. And MySpace wasn't there for me. And it was just like I was going through all of these things looking for like echoes of my friendship with Mike, and like it was like everyone was just like wiping it from the memory of the world. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't like what's happening. Like I'm not going to take these things for granted. This is how like emotional hoarding is created. Like this is nuts. Like I'm
Hmm.
gonna start. I'm like I don't know. I have to make sure I save these things somehow in like a physical form, like from now on, because like I also realized, dude, that like I don't take enough pictures of my friends. Like I never have. I've never liked pictures.
Yeah, dude, I've been hard pressed to find one of like you, me, and Mike. It's
Yeah,
so weird. It's like
I don't
you and
like.
Mike, me and Mike,
Yeah,
Mike.
I
Like
don't. I
it's
think I have like 3 pictures of me and Mike like around. I don't. I've never taken a lot of
even you and
pictures.
me, dude. Like there's like a
Dude,
handful of pictures of you and me.
we need more pictures. Like I mean, obviously we do this together every week, but we're
We have
not.
a constant one.
Yeah. But like like whatever. What are pictures? But like, pictures are just like stills of pictures are just like stills of a podcast that people didn't create. Like that's that's their problem. But I thought it had a lot yesterday where I was just like, I feel like all of these things are being taken from me and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know. I mean, like, I can't get those songs back. I don't have them anywhere. I went through my old emails, like, hoping I sent them to myself at some point. I went through my old laptop. It's not on there. It must have been on, like, a previous computer that I don't have anymore, It's just like, so it sucks.
It's gone.
It's just gone, So there's only so much we can do. But, like, we have to hold on to that stuff. That's why, so, like, I took... so like I made sure to download all those songs from you. I'm gonna put them on a disc and like put it somewhere safe and just be like, here it is, or like a hard drive rather, probably, because that way we always have, But
yeah, I've been talking about that too with hard drives and photos and stuff, because like, yeah, the people think that the internet is the most convenient and the most safe at the same time, and it is convenient, but there's something about having something tangible. Like you see the risk involved. Like you see, like in the video game world, where games are edited on the fly and things are removed from games, and then that's the only version you have. I mean, you don't have the hard cover anymore, the hard disk. So
yeah, dude.
It's the same thing with like life events and memories.
Yeah. So I went through that yesterday. I was just like, well, all of those songs are gone. All of those, so I was like, what do I have? What do I actually have? And I went through, and I remembered that like Mike recorded several episodes of a podcast by himself in like 2017. I remember like he'd message me every time an episode would come out and I'd like ask him questions. He asked a couple of questions I asked on the podcast, which was kind of cool to like go back and hear. But it's just weird, man. It's just like I'm just like chasing moments, that like exist where I guess I'm chasing permanence, like I'm just like, I'm looking for permanence, and like I'm looking for something to hold on to. Like I obviously he's gone. He's not coming back. But it's weird. I don't know. I know he knew that we loved him. I know that. Like, I feel like one of the best things that we all do as best friends, or like as friends, is like we have never shied away from like hugging each other and like telling each other we love each other. Like none of us. We've all been there all the time, saying like, like,
yeah, like, no like toxic, that none of that. Like just pure, like unadulterated, like just love, friendship, love, and like bonds.
Because I guess like I was going through that where I was like, I mean, we obviously, like, I went through the like, could I have done more? Like, I wasn't hanging out with Mike as much. Like, I haven't hung out with him as much since I had a son, So I'm like, could I have how could I have done something different to like change the outcome of this situation in his life? But it's like I can't do that. I can't beat myself up. I know that. And I know that like what I did do was like, I know he knew that I loved him. I know like I would pick him up and like bring him to your house, and we did that for a long time where we'd have long conversations. Like we'd have conversations the whole way there about everything. And I just like,
we would literally play music for 10 minutes because we would just sit there and like catch up for like 2.5 hours.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. And it was just like, I love our friendship so much. And I like, man, it's just crazy. But yeah, so anyway, so I was going through that and I was just like, what am I afraid of? What do I have to shake out or like get through and like experience and like and like, I don't have any doubt that he knew how he felt. I don't have any fear that like we could have done anything different. I just wish things were different. I know they can't be, and it just sucks. It's just weird. It's just weird to go through this right now because it's like we were saying before about like people wanting to fix things that you can't fix or like offering. It's like that's constantly what my brain's doing, is like trying to rewrite the past as I'm doing a play it again with the Mike Curtis like life like with our friendship, and it was like, but I can't do that, and like it was like we had such a great time together, like all of us, like we had of course we weren't as close anymore, I
Uh-huh.
think like that's kind of what, but you know what, like that's kind of what you were like when you said before, Mike has touched so many people's lives and like been really close friends with so many different people, and we've kind of all like dipped our toes in various friend groups over time, and like come back, and we've always felt like this like deep tether with one another, where it's like Mike
Mhm.
was our forever friend. He was like our forever best friend who like, and that's how I felt about him. That's how I mean, obviously that's how I feel about you and Tina, and like I just, it's crazy, man. It's crazy that like it's not like I was seeing Mike every day, but like Mike was my brother, just like I saw Mike more
Mhm.
than I see my actual brother. Like
Mhm.
I've spent more time like talking to Mike about life, the universe, and everything, my actual problems, like I, like his actual problems, like what do we think happens when we die? Like we've gone through the whole like human spectrum of conversation together, and like grew as people and suffered together, and like went through all this stuff, like more so than I have with like anyone outside of you, So it's
Mhm.
like
It's like
it's
a, it's like, yeah, I know, like, it's like that. It's like a, even though like you're saying, like, you don't see this person, like, it feels like a main cable has been snapped. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like it's like something that we were like a structure we were fastened to, like, is that we relied on, like, to some extent,
yeah,
even, is just gone now. That cable's gone. Like, and like it's hard for your, like, to even process, like, all the everything that's going to come with that cable falling off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I
dude.
get what you're saying, man, because like it's so, it's such a, like with Mike, like, I had a closer relationship with him, like, in in comparison to, like, Tommy, like,
Right.
before this happened. Like, Tommy and I had that falling out, and of course I went through 1,000 regrets, like, going through that when that happened. Like, what would have been different if we were still really close friends, and what would, but like with Mike, like but aside from you, like, he was probably one of my closer friends in the last 2 years, 3 years,
Yeah,
like, and it's I don't know, my brain keeps doing that thing where, like, I'm like I remember, like when I first read it, like, it's like, can they still resuscitate? Like, it's
I
like, you
know.
don't believe that, like, no, like, that's, like, that actually happened. Like, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do to do anything. Like, I don't know. I'm just rambling again, because, like, it's like my mind gets kind of stuck on those spirals. But yeah, man, like, I don't know what else to say about it. It's like I said, today I felt better, but like I said, I think I felt better in the sense that I'm just, like, more numb today than anything. Like, I don't really, not really, like, experiencing anything higher than neutrality when it comes
Yeah,
to any emotion. It's either below that or at that, is what I'm been kind of at.
yeah. It was rough, man. Like I had to, I picked Atlas up today, and I had to tell him, that like I had to tell him that I'm sad. I was just like, hey, and I talked to him, and I was just like, hey, buddy, I just want you to know that if I seem like I'm sad or anything, and like I'm not upset, like I'm not upset with you, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of gave him like a quick talk about, and he was, I mean, he did the thing that I expected him to do, where he was like, well, when I'm upset, I hug you. So when you're upset, and he was like, I'll just hug you. I'll hug you, and you can hug me. And he's like, he's like, what helps me? It was funny. He's like, what helps me is eating my favorite snacks. It makes me feel better. And I was like, okay.
He's such a sweet boy.
He was so sweet. So I was like, but that was rough, man. And like I had to talk to him about it, and then kind of like go and play video games and stuff, and like it was nice. It's nice to have like little distractions, but I also like I'm still in that headspace of like everything feels inconsequential, and I don't like it. I don't like kind of circling the drain of nihilism, where it's just like I know it's just like a quicksand trap that I'll eventually escape from, like any other time like depression gets hold of me. But I feel it though. Like I feel the weight of just the uncertainty and like the fact that it's like, well, if this can happen, like he's gone, how do I even explain this and what do I talk about? And it's like nothing matters. Who fucking cares? Like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have done anything? No. Well, can I do anything about anything? Doesn't matter. Like, is there? So then I start like thinking like determinism and like, and like it's stupid. Like, my brain just starts cycling around. It kind of tries to like make sense of everything while like forgiving itself, but also hating itself, and it just go through this weird spiral. I'm just trying to get through it. I'm just trying to like freaking get. I don't know, man. But I don't. I'll tell like it sucks. You know what? You know what really like the whole situation is just obviously a nightmare. But like I go through this thing where like now I'm trying to be on like I'm a person who's never wanted to be social in the first place, trying to be popular on social media to some extent in hopes of like promoting our work and like getting ourselves out there and doing all this stuff. So now I'm like going through this thing and I feel the weight of like my absence on social media, and I'm like, I'm just gonna be dark. If I am there, I'm gonna end up being dark, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do? And I don't want to like darken anyone's days if I can avoid it. And like, not that that's how everyone sees it. I know not everyone sees me expressing my grief as a burden to them, but it does. But objectively, that is a response that happens. And I think like I can't forget that. Like objectively, if I'm at work and someone's like, I'm gonna go make this frame for my dad. I'm gonna go make a frame for my dad, and they put glitter down the counter, and I go, my friend just died. It affects their day objectively. Like they, even if it's brief, they're gonna be like, oh, well now my day's a little darker, and I'm just like, and I don't want to be the one taking the darkness out of my palette and splashing it on someone else's canvas for the day. I don't, and like I never want to be that person. So I think that's why it makes me feel better to talk to like you, because I know that you're similarly in a place with your palette and your canvas, and you're just like you're painting your portrait of this moment the same way I am, and it's like other people are going about their days painting like this beautiful rainbow, and I don't want to darken it, and I know it's not the case for everyone. I know that there's some people I can talk to, and that's the important thing, I think. And like for me, I can, or at least I feel like I want to compartmentalize to the extent that like it's I don't know, helpful for others and not hurtful or harmful for me. So it's like I don't want to hurt anyone, but I also don't want to hurt myself. I don't know. I want to make sure I'm talking about this stuff with people who are equipped to handle it, and not handle it as far as like solve it, but to like be in the water with me, like Tina messaged me today. Tina was talking to me today, and she was like saying stuff, and then at some point she broke, and she was like, I hope this isn't too much. I know you're going through it too. And I was like, that sentence is everything. I was like, as long as we are both here in the water swimming together, knowing that we're not trying to cause each other to drown, but doing whatever we can to make sure that we're still staying afloat together. That's all I care about. I don't need someone to like give me their floaties, or like I don't want someone to get off the Titanic door. I want to know that like we're all going to try our best to fit on it together or take turns. That's cool. I'm not looking to push anyone off their Titanic drawer and drown them. Like whatever. Like I don't want to. I don't want to be Rose. I want to make our own story and do this right. And I know that generally speaking, people are well intended. They want to be there for people, and they want to be, but like not everyone's going through this. I want people to be able to like experience their daughter's birthday, or experience, like I want people to celebrate their joy, because they freaking should, and like because they don't know if it's their last time. They don't know if they're gonna lose their mic, so like I don't want to do that to them. But that's why I
pull them down, man.
I got you. And like I don't, so like I'd rather just take a step away and just be thankful and tell people that I'm like I appreciate their well wishes and their intention, but like I don't want to darken anyone's days. I just don't. And I know people are there for me. I know I have you, and I have Tina, and I have Amy. I have like I know these people care about me, and like as much as like I know. And for the same reason, I know Mike knew that we loved him, because like we say it, we do it, we express this, we are good at this, we are good at being friends.
Some say the best.
But
But no, I feel you. That's like why I address it the way I did. Just a tweet, just because like I like you're saying, like I don't want to spend the day like adding those tones into each tweet. You know, I just step away, send a tweet, and because I care about those people too. Like I don't want them to think that I don't care about them.
I know,
Like
and I also
you
never
know,
want.
and like
I don't want to be like. I also don't want to be reactionary. I am a human person. We're all, we're doing our best, and like
mhm,
when your particular canvas is like muddled by grief and by darkness, and you're mourning, and everything seems like it's like it feels like it's like the opposite of it's like it can rain all the time. It's gonna rain all the time. This is
mhm.
what life is now. But like when it starts to feel really dark, sometimes people will say something and you respond in that darkness, and like with the language of that darkness, and it's not necessarily always the appropriate response, even though sometimes it might be well intended for your like whatever you're trying to express. It's still a dark, vitriolic, like harsh, like kind of abrasive way to say something, and I don't want to do that, and I know I have that in me to like kind of be sharp with people. I don't want to do it, so I try to avoid it altogether. Like I saw that recently with like people were upset about, of course, naturally people were upset about the Roe v. Wade situation, but then other people are, people who were upset about it are yelling at people who are simply just talking about their day-to-day joys and trying to find, good things. So they're fighting, and it's just like, I don't want to be that person who's yelling at someone about like going to a park or whatever with their kid.
Yeah.
So
Demanding that their day have as many dark clouds as them, because how can
yeah.
you possibly enjoy the sun today? Yeah, I
Exactly,
get
dude.
you, man.
Yeah, and it's and like that's a harsh reality that we all know that's really hard to experience in the moment, is that your worst day is literally someone's first day. It's someone's worst day, it's someone's best day. No matter what. There are 7 billion of us here. We're all going through there is a full life happening every moment. There's a full life. There's someone being born, there's someone having their first birthday, there's someone like cutting off their finger, there's someone like there's a full life and someone dying every single second it's happening. We have a whole full spectrum of faces experiencing one solid life every moment, so it's happening, and there's no telling like what any given person is going through internally in those moments, and I don't want to force my perspective on people ever, especially when it's dark though, like especially if I'm like, hey, this moment should be darker, and like I want them to exist. I want them to thrive. I want people to have a happy Mother's Day. I want my mom to be able to go fishing and, like laugh and like be in the sun for a little bit and enjoy her day. I want that. So it's crazy. It's been obviously a rough week. We both, for good reason, failed this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna be a rough time, man. Obviously I'm gonna be here for you the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love you.
Same.
Um,
And I'm still gonna pour myself into everything. Like, who I am has always like pursued like World of Warcraft was a very good escape for a lot of things, but like I'm not backtracking, I mean like
yeah,
this is a painful period, and I'm just gonna pour myself into like the things that I'm allowed to express myself in, and that's just what I'm gonna do. So like I'm gonna let it slow me down, but I'm not gonna stop. Like Deathless is gonna get done, and like, I mean it's just how it has to be, right? You can't just fall over. You
yeah.
can't just
I I I expect that we're going to have our moments, of course, but like
Mhm.
I don't know, dude. I'm also someone who's like fucking inspired by the finality and mortality. Like I can't help it but to be
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I have less time than I even thought. Like I knew it was coming, but even with this, I'm just like, I need to do things. I am a person who needs to do things before I do that. Like I don't. I
Mhm.
want I want to finish these books. I want to get this stuff done. I feel like I'm wasting time, and um, but that doesn't. Like I'm gonna go through this. I'm going to grieve.
Yeah.
But sometimes I am gonna distract myself. Sometimes I am gonna like I'm gonna write comics. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna play music. I'm gonna record songs. I'm gonna, like I will do things that will serve multiple purposes. But I'll eventually get back. I feel like we're gonna, man, it's crazy that we're working on a book called Deathless, you know, and like
I know.
it's like,
There's so many like ironies, and like I said, like even those two songs that I mashed together, like those are the two songs that we worked on with Mike. Like it's just so weird.
yeah.
It's so
So,
weird how words and lyrics take on different meanings. It's just in the moment they just
man,
seem.
okay, I'll tell you. So one of my favorite moments, I'll tell you my favorite thing that happened. One of, like in this time of like going back and like looking at these things and like, because of course we're gonna see some like good moments and like laugh and dude. So we recorded a very quick acoustic demo of one of the songs that we made, and it sounds pretty good. I actually really like it. And then at the end, Mike was trying to hit this note, and his voice just like cracked and fell flat, and you just hear him just like "fuck," and we all
classic, dude, his classic like scream, like when he was like mad at himself.
Oh,
fuck!
It's so good. It's so funny, and like we all, and then I start cracking up. We were all laughing, and I was just like, I listened to that moment of that song so many times, just like laughing at it, and it was just, it was good. It felt really nice. But I don't know. Did you like? I'm glad that we had those things, dude. I'm glad we had those songs. I'm glad we had.
I'm really thankful for that, like that revival of our friendship that happened back in like 2019, 2020, 2021. Like there was like, I mean, not that I didn't, I mean, you and I obviously it was like a full revival, but like with Mike, like I had seen him off and on, but like that was like almost like the trio is back together to some extent. It was.
Yeah, man. It really.
I'm just very thankful. I'm very thankful that we got to have that time. Anyway.
Me too, dude. I think that was. I mean, that was significant. So much came from that time, and like memories, songs, just like our camaraderie, and like I don't know, like it was beautiful. It was like that's the closest we've come, or at least the closest we've come to the campsite. The closest we've come to like rebuilding like our campsite days. So for those of you who read our first book, Play It Again, Mike is one of the people at the campsite. So
Tommy
so now we have Tommy and Mike on the campsite, and it's just like eventually we're gonna have our Sandlot situation of like fading away, and it's man, it's crazy, dude. But yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna like keep doing everything we can. Obviously, forgiving ourselves, going through things, recognizing that this is gonna be a rough freaking period. But I don't know. Do you have anything else that you were thinking of you wanted to say about it, or him, or?
I mean, I'm gonna forever miss him. He was, like you said, he's a brother. He was a friend. He was Uncle Mike to my kids.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for everyone that's reached out to us on Twitter and then DMs on Facebook. Thank you so much for being exactly what you need to be in this moment. I'm very appreciative of all of you.
Yeah, dude.
And I think that's it. I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's crazy. Just Mike was such a character in the best way, like I fucking love him. I can't. I feel like Mike's one of those people who everyone knew who Mike was, and he was always himself. You know what I mean? Like he wore like his whole self on his sleeve, all the time. And I freaking loved him, and like I was always appreciated him. He was always there. Just I don't know.
He's always honest. Like
he's always
someone
honest.
that would.
Well,
he would take a secret to his grave too, though. I mean, like I'm sure there are things he knows about every one of us that we've told him in confidence that no one knows. No one knows.
I know for a fact some of my secrets are safe. No, but like I love how like passionate Mike was. Like Mike's one of the like few people I knew who like would be quick to like fight someone if he felt like his pride at stake.
Oh yeah, his temper. Oh my
like Mike was a proud dude, but he was also so sincerely and genuinely like good and kind and well intended, and like I feel like everyone felt safe with Mike all the time. Everyone felt like at home with Mike. It always felt like he was like Mike was essentially like our GA muse, you know, like Mike was he was wholly this thing that only exists in that one body. You know, he is a character in and of itself. Like there could be a statue of Mike and everyone would recognize it and be like, that's freaking Mike. Like he's our Mike and there's no one else like that. And it's incredible. And I don't know. I love him. I'm going to miss him.
I'm going to miss him, dude.
All right. Before I get too sad, I should say thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry that this has been an episode of We Have Tissues, but yeah, you know, obviously, you know, for obvious reasons, we had to talk about this and get it out, and it didn't feel right to really talk about anything else. So for those of you who stuck it out with us, thank you, and we do appreciate you, and we are happy to have you in our lives and, you know, as a part of this colony, and, you know, just we're glad you're here, you know. So thank you so much. If you have anything to say, or, you know, if you knew Mike, or, you know, want to say any kind words, feel free to let us know, or say anything in comments, or, you know, just whatever. But we're happy to have you. We're thankful for you, and, you know, we're just grateful to have this moment to be able to share and talk about our friend and kind of connect again and get through this together. I love you, Stephen. Thank you for doing this. I'm so glad that we were able to do this, you know, mostly get through it. I held up, but in any case, thank you all. We will see you next week. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stephen Wildcard.
And this has been We Have Issues. Stay tuned after the song, and I'll play a couple of songs that we went through. And, you know. But yeah, from Mike, we love you, dude.
Have you ever had the chance to say goodbye to the person that you were, and did you cry? Did you feel like a ghost haunting your life? Did you move on? Did you even try? Were you ever reborn as something else? Was it something much different from yourself? Did you lose sight of who you were? Do you feel like a hollow shell? Wake up and back to us. Wake up and know it's time. Wake up and back to us. Wake up, you are enough. Forever we sleep, I wish you pleasant dreams. I know the darkness is all I can see. It's enveloped me, I know there's nothing left. I cannot speak, my voice is trembling, shaking out this bated breath. Turn on the lights, let me witness the end of this pathetic mess. No memories flashing, no life moments haunting me. Everything's fading and now with a whimper, but what scream? Can you hear me? The lights come on, the curtain calls, the stage is set, I'm standing there, naked, confused, the crowd applauds. A new world where nothing's clear, no feeling, my fingers are so numb. What does this mean? What is this new body? Am I alive, or is this a dream? Someone pinch me. Whoa.